What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another video. I hope that everybody is staying safe and warm through this ice storm, because this is something that a lot of us are really not used to, especially those of us who live down south like myself, and are really not used to, really below freezing temperatures, let alone like an ice storm and being, snowed in and then losing power. I lost power a couple of times, not really from the storm itself, mostly from the company reserving energy so that they can restore other people. So, and not really knowing like a time frame or how long that's going to last, it's stressful. It really takes a toll on people who have to just sit it out, because it's nowhere to go. Like, you may not have friends and family to go stay with to stay warm, or either they may be out of power themselves. The hotels and everything are booked up. And so it's just like something that's new to all of us. And again, I just hope that everybody's staying safe and warm. I want to talk about why the news supply is hoovering you. And I just want to give a couple of different perspectives on it, and of course, based on my own experience. And I also want to talk about something else from a spiritual perspective, dealing with narcissism itself. Now, the reason why the news supply could be hoovering you is because it depends on, like, if you are familiar with this new supply. If this is someone who you've already known, and you probably haven't spoken with them in a long time, and then you up and find out that the new supply is seeing your ex, who is the narcissist. And the new supply, they may start to hoover you based on the fact that, just out of curiosity, going off of what the narc has told them, things like the reason why they broke up with you, the reason why they left you, and, just playing that whole victim role. So, of course, the new supply, they may not know you for being that type of person. At the same time, it's like they're curious enough to hear your side of it. And that's always a good thing for a person to, it's like you already know a person's character. So it's not like you're just going to go by the first thing someone tells you. Sometimes you're just curious enough to go and find out for yourself. Is any of this stuff true? Because narcissists are known to lie just to make themselves look good in a situation. So that could be one of the reasons why the new supply is hoovering you, because they already kind of have an idea of who you are, and the things the narcissists have told them, it just don't really sit well with them right off. It's like they're just really not feeling it right off. So they just want to, speak with you just to find out what's going on. So it may not necessarily be one of those hoovers, like, it seems like they're harassing you or something like that, or just out the blue giving you things and stuff. But at the same time, the new supply, they would hoover you if they don't know you, as far as buying you gifts, inviting you to things, or just trying to have these conversations with you, just for the fact that you or someone who used to go with their ex, and of course the narcissist being your ex now, may be talking about you a lot to the new supply, which they always do, because they go into these relationships playing the role as the victim. So, of course, the new supply, they're going to always wonder about that person. And if they're that type of person who has a mind of their own and likes to question things, it is good for them to try to find it out on their own and not just, just go by everything the narc has told them. So that's like two of the reasons why the new supply could be hoovering you. And I told y'all a few days ago, Valentine's Day is the day that they cannot wait to come back around, so that they can start hoovering you again, buying you gifts, and just trying to communicate with you and crossing those boundaries. They're going to take a chance and cross those boundaries on Valentine's Day, because those are the days that they wait for: Valentine's Day, Christmas, your birthday, stuff like that, just so they can talk to you again. So, and I got hoovers last week from the new supply, and like the flying monkeys, like out of the blue, just stuff that I really wasn't expecting. But at the same time, it's just like you just cannot give them the benefit of the doubt, and knowing that they're going to keep it real with themselves and stay away from you along with the narc, because they pretty much like to follow the narc's lead. If the narc be like, I'm going to send them something, because I could just hear her saying that, I'm going to send her a gift, even though she's so mean to me and I didn't do her anything, I'm just going to send it to her anyway. And then it's like the new supply and the flying monkeys, they're going to follow the narc's lead and do the exact same thing. They be so close up behind them in the shadow. They do the exact same thing that the narcissists do. So they just feel like if they do that, that makes them look, it's like they get good graces with the narcissist if they do the same exact thing they do as far as hoovering the new supply. Like, who does that? That's just very strange behavior to question. Like, who runs behind someone's new girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, whoever the person is, friend, whatever? Who runs behind them to give them gifts and things like that if they don't even know them? They're only doing it because the narcissist, they suggest that this is something that they should do so that they can mend fences and, just make peace with the person, which is all fake. Because the narcissist already know that you don't want to have nothing to do with them. It's just all a part of the hoovering tactic. It's something it goes along within the cycle of, narcs behaviors. So that's like the reason why the new supply hoover you. And, it's why it may seem strange is because the new supply is like they want to please the narcissist. And at the same time, they do stuff out of curiosity. And then with the flying monkeys, the reason why they will hoover you is because they want to please the narcissist. It's like the narcissist is the leader of the pack, and they don't want to do anything that makes them seem opposite of who the narc is expecting them to be. And I know it sounds crazy, but that's the way it is. I've dealt with it before a lot of times, dealing with the narc and the new supply, and people that I haven't heard from in years that, it's friendships that came to an end because they believe the lies that the narcissist told, or because I decided to cut them off right along with the narc. Because sometimes you have to do what you got to do to protect your peace. So that's that. And I also want to talk about this whole thing with narcissism and how, it's like, why do the narcissists always try to come back around? Like, why don't they give up? And maybe it has a lot to do with the fact that depending on how you're speaking on them, like in a manifesting way, like if you're constantly claiming them to be, even though they're in your past, you're still claiming it in a way where you're saying my narc. And that's something we got to get out of the habit of doing, is claiming, what did us so wrong in the past as something like it belongs to us. Like that was a part of my past, but that's not something that I want to, I want to keep bringing it up. Like if I'm not even trying to get over it. That's just one way, you can look at it if you choose to. But like I say, that's from a spiritual place that I look at it. Like maybe if we stop saying my narcissist, we won't have to deal with them so much, because it's like we're calling on those spirits when we say, my narcissist. So that's just one thing to think about. And it's just like another saying goes, like the devil knows what you're afraid of because you speak it into existence. And so when the devil knows what scares you, it's like they can use that to scare you, stuff like that. That's just my deeper way of thinking about it. I'm not telling anybody if you stop saying narc, then that means they're going to stop coming around, because they're going to be there forever. They, they're here. They exist. It's an evil spirit. And, we just have to find ways to deal with them depending on the situation. Like a lot of times we don't have no control of dealing with narcissists because they're in the workplace. And we may love our jobs and we don't want to leave our jobs, and that option just might not be available, and the pay might be good. And, this is something we always wanted. But how did the narc slip through the crack and be there? Not saying because you manifested it, but it's just the thing that, that's just one way to look at it. Like, just stop saying my narc, so that spirit can finally go away and you can go head on through with your, your healing process. Because narcissists, they are everywhere and in different people. And it's like, again, in the workplace, you may be wondering, like I always used to say this until I finally figured it out, like, well, what makes them fit in the crowd so easily and just, be able to just seem like someone who doesn't stand out. Narcissism is hard to prove. It's because of the type of jobs they pick. They pick the type of jobs that it's not like it requires you to get a psychiatric evaluation. Like I always say this habit of saying they really need to start checking these people's heads before they can, like, I always say the narc, she need to go get her head checked because something is clearly wrong with her. Like, that's not something that they're going to require you to do in order to get that type of job. So it's like, it's very, very hard to exclude the narcissist from certain employers because it's all about the skills. If they can do the job, then they're hired. So that's just something to think about as well. But at the same time, as far as, a spiritual perspective, you have to stop manifesting it and calling up on that spirit, because you're just awakening it to find you. And they're going to always find you wherever you go. And again, I'm not saying just because you don't speak on it, then they're not going to show up. They're going to be there. But at least you can better prepare yourself. You give yourself time to heal in the process of dealing with something, that abused and treated you so bad. And you know what you're working with. with someone like that. You know what you're dealing with. Give yourself that time to heal, then, that you need before you really just jump into another situation and don't really scope out or, weigh out your options and everything. So it's best that we just be careful with job opportunities and things like that, and just make sure that we find ourselves in a place where we can maintain peace of mind, even though they're always going to have these old toxic people in the workplace. But, that's just something to think about. Something I wanted to speak on today. Thank y'all for watching. Leave your thoughts down below. Hope y'all stay safe and warm through the remainder of this storm. And I'll talk to you soon.